inspired by the Netflix phenomenon known as The Tiger King, Murder, Mayhem, and Madness. So grab your friends, tell them come on over, join the party, get in here. We want to have a little light, levity, fun conversation tonight because it's been heavy enough. How about that? So, hey sister, how you doing?
Hey, sister, trying to get this watch party together as always, and not sure if it's working, so gotta try this again. So it's
Okay, I'm trying
always,
to get mine together. It says yes.
I
Christina's
guess.
posting the watch parties. That's what it looks like over there. Let me go to
Okay,
my page and check it out.
all
Try to
right.
get it together. Let's see.
Looks like
Um,
we're up and going. I guess so. All right, let me close
it
this.
looks like we're up and going. Let's see.
Jeez, Louise, girl.
So, what you G's and Louising about? Tell me about it.
Before we
Talk
get
about it.
started, this is what I must say. Hey, Miss Jody, how you doing? Listen, I recognize that this is a new normal for everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for the last like 3 hours, I've been on meetings and calls, and everybody wants to check in on how everybody's doing, and everybody is acting like they are struggling so hard, And this is the juxtaposition. I'm listening to people talk about, oh, me and my spouse are both at home, and we have similar work hours, and we do similar work, so we have to figure out how to balance our time, and ha ha ha. And then in the background, I'm seeing this sister in the hospital in New York saying, an ER doctor saying, stay the F at home. This is really serious. And I'm sitting up here like, we are really complaining about working from home. Working from home is like my dream. Okay. I love working from home. And I get it. It's a little uncomfortable when you can't see some folks, but at the same time, it's like we're not ER doctors. We're not paramedics. We're not teachers who are trying to still create some level of normalcy for their students. We're not school principals. We're like, I mean, obviously, some of you are, all are, and we thank you very, very much for the work that you're doing and the sacrifices that you're making. Every time I go to the store, they're not closed, they're still open. There's still folks in there. Many times it's people who I know are over the age of 65, and they are still in there trying to collect a check. And I I count myself very privileged to be able to have a cell phone and a laptop and hardly comb my hair and just put on makeup for the fact that I was coming on this show today and barely put on clothes today. I count myself very blessed to be able to um, still have gotten as far as I checked when I looked at the account, the money hit the bank. So I'm just like, guys, we gotta stop. We gotta stop with all the complaining about working from home. Like it's like you're killing me, shorty. You're killing me. It's not that bad. It really isn't. It could be so much worse. And I don't know. Sorry for the vent. I know 2020. Listen, I posted it today. It was the year of vision, and ain't none of us saw this stuff coming at all. We missed it. All of us was had all kind of vision. We were planning for the future and all
Right.
kind of stuff, and missed all of this.
Look, let's see.
Yeah, clean your glasses, girl. You know.
Let me clean. Let me see if I clean them real good. If that's gonna make some things look different here.
Right. I
Child, listen.
I mean, I
Two.
tell you, we listen, I get to work from home and still walk outside. Everybody's still walking. They still walking around the neighborhood. Like I said, they still in the stores every time I go over there. Somebody is there. But it's like, I mean, even just think, even if you were the sister, like you said, who I guess is one of our sorority sisters, Jameek Alcindor, and you had to sit there every day and listen to this man lie to you in your face. and criticize you and talk to you lower than a dog, that makes for a hard day's work.
Hold on. Let's talk about that. Now we gonna get some perspective in here. Please share this broadcast on your pages so we can bring more people into the conversation. Tell your friends and family that Hey Sister is live now. And yes, our topic tonight is Tiger King. But since we're gonna have some perspective on the situation that we're in, let's talk about perspective.
And I
So
gotta
you
tell you some comments that my line sister who works in the hospital is saying on my watch party. So, but go ahead. I wanna.
Yes, well, I have a line sister who's also an ER doctor. I have a lot of good friends who are doctors who are on the front lines right now, who are testing patients. And I just read a post from somebody earlier today who's down in South Texas,
Mhm.
who is reporting on one of her patients who's a pediatric patient because she's a pediatrician, so a 16-year-old. And so this is real life right now. And so anybody who has the luxury of working from home, you need to count yourself blessed. And so you're not working in a grocery store, you're not working in the hospital, you're not a nurse, you're not a physician, you are not a truck driver who is still trying to get goods delivered places, right? There are people whose whole livelihoods, restaurant owners, waiters and waitresses whose lives have been severely disrupted. So to hear anybody complaining about working at home, it's like it's time to check priorities.
Yeah.
It's really time to put things in perspective and to embrace this moment to rise to the occasion and think about, instead of complaining about working from home or complaining about the kids being at home, thank God that you have a home,
Right.
because there are many who don't. Here in the Central Florida area, the many people who are service related workers who work at all of these theme parks that you love to go to, they stay in extended stay hotels, and their kids stay in extended stay hotels. That's their home.
Right.
So the fact that you even have a home with internet access,
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like I
go
mean,
sit down somewhere.
I'm on
Go
these
sit down.
calls. I listen. Look, please don't take my job away, y'all. I am good working from home, but I'm sitting on some of these calls like y'all sitting outside next to a pool and a
How about that?
cabana. Y'all sitting in your house having a glass of wine with a whole wine refrigerator too. Wine refrigerators behind you. And I'm not saying those are the people that were necessarily complaining, but I'm looking at it and I'm like, wow, we are really taking for granted. Like, we got some nice shit. Sorry. And we're living some really nice lives. And
And
the
have a
most
problem with that.
and
But
the
let me
most
let
they're
me
asking us to do is stay at home, man. I'm tripping. But anyway, I'm sorry.
So
I got
I'm going to post this article in for people to read. It was shared on LinkedIn from Psychology Today, and I reposted it there on LinkedIn, but I'm going to share it here. And the title is "It's Okay to Feel Overwhelmed and Be Unproductive." Because here's the other thing: there's all of this stuff out there about how, oh, we just need to, oh yeah, just get it in. And so now everybody wants to plan a million meetings that they weren't going to plan before. They want to plan a million events because they're trying to put on this air of productivity
right.
that was not there. Let's stop that, and let's stop trying to create this sense of that we're getting so much done that is irrelevant at this moment in time, because the truth is there's a lot left that is going to unfold. There's a lot more that is unknown. There's a lot more things that are going to come our way. And so let's stop pretending and let's stop trying to put on this air and allow people space. Allow them some space, allow them some breathing room, space to heal, space to process. I don't know why it's not posting here, but I'll make sure it gets posted somewhere so you all can see that link
Yeah,
and, go
I'm
read it.
sorry. I just, it's like the more I think about it, I'm just like, we are really in a very fortunate place. My line sister just she posted. on my watch party, and she said, "You're right about that. People need to stay home. They don't want to end up sick because, honey, it's real in these hospitals, and I know it is." And so I just gotta reiterate, thank everybody who can't work from home. I want to thank you all for all that you do to make it a lot easier for those of us who can, and for those of us who can. I mean, yeah, like you said about unnecessary meetings. I mean, I'm hearing folks talking about they on calls at 6:30 in the morning and getting off at 10 o'clock at night. Look, if you weren't doing that when you go to the office, stop stunting. Just don't turn on your computer until you need to turn it on. You maintain your same work hours. Like if that's a every now and again a thing where you have to log in because you have to speak to somebody in another country, cool. But if that ain't your day to day, why are you trying to stunt? I'm sorry, they don't know what stunt means, but I know what stunt means. If you want to know, I can break it down in a different way. You know what? Why
It's
are
called
you?
pretending.
Yeah.
How about
Why
that?
are you being fraudulent? And why are you pretending to be more important and necessary on the? And that's another thing. Sometimes you don't even need to be on these calls. Stop it. Anyway, all right, done. Let's talk about Joe Exotic.
Yes, let's talk about the cast of characters known as Tiger King. So if you did have not watched it, there will be. I don't know if there are going to be spoilers. It's because first of all, if you don't sit in there looking like this, like that's the whole show in a nutshell. Like all those facial expressions, like
Right.
hot mess from beginning to end. So we're gonna go through some of the characters. The main character, the Tiger King, who is now serving a 22-year federal sentence for a murder for hire.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Joe Exotic and the GW Zoo family. Because let me tell you, the GW Zoo family deserves the Ride or Die Award. How about that? If there was ever a group of people that deserve the Ride or Die Award, it's the GW Zoo family, right? Listen.
Yes. Listen. Randy wanted us to know, spoiler alert, Joe is gay. That's what he wrote on my comment. Yeah, I got it. Yes. So let's see. Again, if you have not watched this, I would like to say that even if we do talk about it, you can still watch it because you're gonna be so confused if you haven't seen it. You're gonna be like,
Right.
wait,
Nothing we can say would ever even can come to
it won't pull it together for you.
it won't pull it together for you. Because honey, seeing is believing, and that's the fact. Seeing is
So
most
first of
definitely
all,
believing.
sister, let's just start from the top.
Let's start from the top.
As I told
Hold
you,
on. Let's start from the top. It opens with a man, and I was like, oh, he is getting a Burmese python. I bet this shit go down in Florida where I live. And lo and behold, half of this show is about what? Florida.
well,
I digress.
again, Charlemagne, the god of the Breakfast Club, always says the craziest people in the world come from the Bronx and all of Florida. So that's apparently the
And I'm just letting y'all know I'm not from here. How about that?
well, okay. I tried to tell you before you started that the first 5 minutes, you before the credits really start rolling for real, like before they really bring up like the opening Tiger King situation, you were gonna be like, what? Like in first 5 minutes, you are already confused at the level of foolery. And dare I say it? I know we may cuss at this show, but Foolery and fuckery.
Oh, this is gonna be some cussing. This is a cussing episode because everything about this is what the you feeling the
Right.
expletive. It don't matter. Whatever expletive you want, you will say what the
Flying shenanigans is going on here. Okay, so GW Zoo is located somewhere in Oklahoma, or it was. I'm not even sure if it really still exists or not. Fella Joe Exotic. Joe owns the zoo and he collects big cats. And some of them are legal, some of them are illegal, I'm sure, because he's breeding and things of that nature.
oh, they all illegal.
Well, true. I mean, I'm guessing you really can't have any tiger or lion as a pet. I don't even know where to begin with this food. All I know, speaking of the Ride or Die Award, is like this one person has their whole arm bitten off by an animal, and she still works there, or she worked there to the end. I'm like, I, I just feel
She had her arm bit off. Like, no, she was bit, mauled by the tiger.
right,
And in the hospital, so first of all, he goes into the lobby where people are coming to check in the zoo and says, "Some before y'all hear it on the media, somebody just got attacked by a tiger."
right.
Okay, so here's what she does. She's in the hospital, and the doctor says, "Look, we can her hand wasn't quite it, she had her hand was still there, but based on the level of damage they were like, you will have multiple reconstructive surgeries or we can amputate." And she said, go ahead, amputate and go back to work the next day. That's why everybody in the GW Zoo family deserves the Ride or Die Award, because y'all not gonna tell me y'all sitting up here working from home and your arm gets shredded. You going to work the next day? You filing some workers' compensation? Stop it. Let me tell you, we not built for that type of life,
No,
and
and
I ain't
no
ashamed
worker,
of it.
no, and no workman's compensation can be filed because I'm not sure that anyone actually gets paid in dollars at this place.
And that's at Joe Exotic's GW Zoo. So I need to find this tweet for you all. I shared it with my husband earlier, and I will look for it so I can share this piece for you. Because this is one of the things that is very profound, because not only did Joe Exotic have a zoo of lions, tigers, cats, all types of big cats and alligators too, and I guess some chimpanzees. He had a little bit of everything at his zoo. But he also ran for office in 2016. So we didn't realize the whole, like we ended up with Donald Trump.
But we could have had Joe
Oh, we could have
Exotic.
ended up with Joe Exotic. Because
Yes.
the people who are dropping $300+ to tour this zoo. Now, this ain't the San Diego Zoo.
Well, no, Joe's wasn't 300. I think Joe's was probably only around 50 or so. He could,
No, it was three.
it was no old dude with the elephant, the guy who made himself a god or whatever his name
Doc.
is, Doc Antil. That
Doc
he was
Antle.
the one charging 600, 300, whatever he felt like that day.
Doc Antle. So let's talk about another character in this display. Doc Antle. And what city was Doc Antle in? I
Let,
can't remember
let me
what
look
city
it up
he's
real
in.
quick.
Look him up. So Doc Antle, who has a harem,
Yes. Oh wow.
who had a one young lady whose father drove her down there and dropped her off and said, "Don't fall in love with your boss."
Right. I'm
She,
serious.
I mean, if you want to talk about the recipe, if you ever needed to understand human trafficking, watch Tiger King. Because there's a lot of human trafficking exploitation going on at all of these places. It
True.
is absolutely astonishing.
He's at the Myrtle Beach Safari. So
Myrtle Beach
Myrtle Beach, South
Safari.
Carolina. Yes.
Jesus, Jesus. Okay, yes. So
Oh,
let's see
and
what we
Robert
got
had already told us Myrtle Beach. Sorry, Robert. You were on my page and not on the Hey Sister page. So I
in
had
the
to.
Hey Sister. Yeah. So the
Yeah.
comments in the Hey Sister are coming in slow. Jeffrey Sloan was back in 5 days. She chose amputation rather than save her arm.
Yes,
Yes,
5 days because,
5
the
days.
next day would have been really aggressive.
Next day,
So
what?
5 days. Listen, I get a paper cut and I ain't about to be up at this workplace the next day.
All of this amputated up to the elbow, like all of this gone. And then I'm trying to see how she was sitting there. It was her left hand.
She
So
was sitting with
hopefully,
her cigarette in her just
so I guess it was her left hand and she was right dominant. Hope, I don't
I don't
know.
know, but she's driving cars and everything and still was handling the animals. That's Saf, right? Safi or
Sap.
Saf. Saf,
She was about it for real. She
right.
was like, I'm going back because I know what the media gonna say. So I'm going back to the zoo.
And so
What?
there are so many. I'm sorry, guys. We are all over the place, but there's so many
The
juxtapositions.
show is all over the place. So you
Yeah.
will understand once you watch it.
So Joe. So let me back up. Joe Exotic. He has this arch nemesis, Carol. I can't. It starts with a B. Her
Baskin.
last Baskin. Carol Baskin. Carol Baskin is the one down in Tampa, Florida. Carol Baskin and Joe Exotic are at odds because apparently, and it shows the way people shift. I guess Carol at one point was also a breeder, but now she's a rescuer. And so she owns the Big Cat Rescue down in Tampa, Florida. And she and her husband save all these cats. And yet, and she talks about them being enclosed and encaged. And yet, it appears that all her cats are enclosed and encaged as well. So I'm so confused on how she feels like the things that she's doing are righteous and above board, but what Joe Exotic is doing is bad. And she's still charging people in the same way to come to her. And they kill me how they just have like 40, 50 acres of land just anywhere. But Carol, as you said, I don't know, maybe her people get the Ride or Die award because they all volunteer.
So here's the thing about, so y'all know that Florida and the Central Florida, this whole I-4 corridor is like one of the worst for what they call human trafficking and exploitation and modern day slavery. So basically, you have a legion of volunteers and they have color coded shirts. So you can know how long they've been volunteering. That go all the way up from light blue to royal blue. I think royal blue was the highest, and a myriad of rainbow colors in between to let them know if you were an intern or you've been there 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, however many years you've been volunteering. But everyone there is a volunteer and works, let's say, minimum of 12 hours a day. No salaries. Exactly. Everyone is a volunteer. And she has this, hey, all you cool cats and kittens. Does the capitalized on social media very early and has and monetized it, and still the conditions in which these animals live. She says she's doing something good for the animals, but are you really? But are you really? I, in my estimation, not. But here's the thing about Carol Baskin. So Carol was one of those walking along the highway when she was 15 and got put out the house
She wasn't 15 at that particular time. At that time, she was already married. Remember, she got married at 17.
No, when she got put out the house and married her first husband, she
Right,
was a teenager.
right. But she was married by
Yeah,
17 and so she was already married. So she wasn't 15 when she was walking. She was at least 19. I don't want her dead husband.
I'm just saying she was 15 years old when she first was walking on and met her first husband. And as a young person was married, got married, had a child, um, in an abusive relationship. Then she got on with the next husband, who was a millionaire. And no one, not even his attorney, not even his first wife, no one or his children could quantify his amount of millions.
which was very strange to me. I mean,
And we have one said she killed him. I had a dream. Well, listen, I have no doubt in my mind whether it was her or someone at her
she probably
encouragement.
it was probably similar. I mean, dare I say it, because I know people are going to be all up in arms. I still do not believe O.J. Simpson killed. I believe he was a party too, but I don't think he had the actual skill to do what the person who actually killed his ex-wife and her lover, how they killed him. That said, in a similar fashion, I am sure Carol Baskin had something to do with the disappearance of her husband. Perhaps he is still in Costa Rica.
Mm, yeah, because he
Just
used to fly planes, but we never saw a plane go. Because if he would have went out over the Gulf, nobody would have ever found him. That's what she said, girl.
and because of the altitude in which he would fly, apparently he
Girl,
flew really low.
wait, what? Stop it.
That is a very good comment, April. Yes.
Carol thinks because she put a pillow and a blanket in the cages for the animals that she was treating them better. Huh? Let's talk about that. She told on herself more than once. Yes, yeah. And hey, we don't need a special on her because I believe that the documents that Joe had the boy go pull out the storage is going to eventually tell the story. Because see, here's the other thing. So this the tweet I wanted to tell y'all about. It's by this young man, Jared Yates Sexton. I don't know if he has a check mark, so I don't know if he is just prolific or if he's a journalist. But this is a lengthy thread. But the first part of the thread says, Tiger King and Donald Trump are indictments of what America has become, a delusional, fictional empire where the pursuit of meaningless self-aggrandizement and artificial power not only corrupts individuals, but destroys lives and eradicates shared society. Joe Exotic, Carol Baskin, Donald Trump, all in the same basket. And you know what they all have in common?
What do you think they all have in common?
Florida. That's what
Oh,
they all have in
that
common.
ain't what I was thinking.
Florida. Yes, the delusion. But what the point I was getting at when someone said we need a special on her, why we don't need a special on her. We don't need a special on her because of this. Because of the hubris and the arrogance for you to even let Netflix come up in there, this whoever did the documentary, and then sell it to Netflix, and it has been trending all weekend long. If you do not think the eye of justice is now going to be not going to be upon you, girl, go sit down because you have no idea what you have opened, the level of scrutiny you have now opened yourself up to. Just like the president didn't think that, oh, Trump University wasn't going to fall, all these things were going to fall, and all these indictments that are waiting for him when he is no longer in office, right? Because you put yourself in the light and open yourself up to this level of scrutiny, and it will come back to haunt you. So just stay tuned. We don't need a special on Carol because we're gonna see her on CNN breaking news.
Well, and here's the thing: in light of Tiger King, everyone is also speaking out, right? So Doc Antel and his folks are like they're very disappointed with what happened, how the documentary came out. John Finley has some new teeth.
John Finn, y'all need to go to Tim's. Let me see if I can find that so you can
John
see John
Finley
Finley
has
new teeth.
new teeth, and John Finley said he did not lose his teeth because of meth. He said that it's genetic. He has been off of meth for 6 years. Let's see who. I mean, so they're gonna all start talking in a second. It is just cool. The stuff is gonna just roll downhill because. But let's and John Finley. But let's.
Can we talk about John Finley and Travis and this whole I'm not gay, but so here, if you weren't on meth, what were you smoking?
Oh, he. I mean, he was on something clearly
What
because
was he smoking?
you don't say that you're a straight man. I mean, like, look, I get it. Desperate times call for desperate measures. I thank the Lord, never been that desperate, but you don't get a whole nother man's name tattooed on your body in multiple places. And and I'm laughing at the genetic mess coming. You don't get a man's name tattooed on your body in multiple places if you're not gay and you're not smoking something.
So
'Cause,
on your lower abdomen, you have private property of Joe Exotic tattooed, and then when you go get the tattoo
no, it's
covered, that wasn't even
it's
oh
exclusively for.
exclusively. But when you go get the tattoo covered, you didn't even get it fully covered because it still had his name hanging out on the corners. And you got the girl who worked at the front desk pregnant. Listen,
Well, and you got a bull. That was questionable too. Like you didn't even choose something that could have made us think. Like you
mm-mm.
actually.
Yes, I believe. Well, genetics and bath salts cause them teeth. Something caused them teeth to fall out. Yes, meth and bath, whatever it was. Especially the way it was all blackened up in there, and the space was like, oh, child, listen, I don't know. He had some chick. What you say there, Katrina? I haven't watched it. Probably will not. I can be here for comments and commentary, though. Go ahead on, join in the comments and the
Well,
commentary.
again, if you what we say to you right now, if I say so, Joe Exotic wanted to kill Carol Baskin, but Carol Baskin was married to the Mr. Lewis and
Don
Mr.
Miller, and she killed.
No Lewis,
No, Lewis.
Don
Don
Lewis,
Lewis.
and we don't know what happened to Don Lewis. You're gonna be like, what? And then we talk about and the excessive amount. So this is the other thing: human trafficking and pedo
Exploitation.
exploitation. Yes, or not pedophiles, but exploitation. It was like ran rampant. So Doc Antil and his multiple women. Then you had Jeff Lowry, who had almost choked out his first wife, and then the second wife is him and her swinging all over the place. And then you had again Joe Exotic, which we had to think, okay, John Finley was confused at some level because Joe Exotic didn't take his last name, but Joe Exotic took both Travis and then the new husband, I can't even remember his name, Passage guy. He took both of their last names. But anytime but then I was like, why did John Finley even feel like you was actually married to this man? You got married in a triple ceremony. Like, as far as I understand, if polygamy is illegal, I know gay polygamy don't work. So I'm just saying.
Listen,
So I was like, why
he
did you
said
think you were really married anyway?
wrote a song about it. Here you go. How about that? Listen, this comment is deep right here, and it talks about that whole privilege. And it says Carol participated in the documentary because she was banking on the sympathy and protection that Joe's anger would typically provide a white woman.
Woo! Child, you done just spoke a word right there. Spoke a word. That was what I thought they had in common from the start. I was like, what, they all white? No offense. No offense to my white friends, but there were not a lot of black people featured in this documentary. They
Not
had,
many people of
yeah,
color, period.
oh yeah, they had a few that came to the visit the various um, wildlife refuges or whatever they want to call them, and zoos, and then you had Saf again, the ride or die chick of all times, who was something. But beyond that, you didn't have a lot of black people participating in this situation.
Mm-mm. No, definitely not. But you had people who, there were people who were genuinely there because they did have a love for those animals. They also did not have a very, um, they didn't have a lot to lose. So they were willing to take that chance, right? But I
Well, I
will
mean,
also,
they were desperate. I mean, look, you saw when Joe Exotic went up to the lady at the bus stop or whatever, and was like, "I'll give you a chance. I'll give you a chance." And when you sitting at a bus stop for days, no one's coming to pick you up, and you don't even
yeah.
have any money. I mean, and
Hold on.
let's talk
There's
about.
another thing. One that took a picture with the tiger cub. So let's talk about that. It was like, here's a tiger cub, and people would lose their mind. Even the news media people, when they
Yeah,
would go in there, it was so disgusting and perverse. Like, oh, they're so cute, and it's like it was so perverse.
yeah,
Yes, we
Shaq.
saw
We did
Shaq,
see Shaq. Yes, you're right.
and now he's clarifying his
His
appearance.
appearance, he probably like, so what happened?
He trying to clarify, dude. You can't clarify because if you own anybody. So here's the other scary thing. They said that there are um about 5,000 to 6,000 big cats. So that's tigers, that's lions, that's panthers, that's not lemurs, and all of these exotic animals. There are more tigers in captivity in the United States than in their natural habitat. So take that in for a minute. This ain't Asia. This ain't India. This ain't Africa. There are more big cats in captivity in the United States than in their natural habitat. People, the psychosis of that is a problem. And it's one of the reasons. See, natural selection is a beast. Natural selection is a beast. And we keep trying to defy natural selection. And guess what? We all sitting in the house right now. I'm going to just drop that right there.
Well, this is what I want to say. Because in the United States, what is very intriguing to me is that we really, really love dogs a lot.
Mm.
And then you got this other juxtaposition of we really love big cats. But like regular house cats get treated like real poorly around these parts. So it's just weird to me that you want to take a picture like you're enamored by a tiger cub, but like a black cat crossing your path, and you like sprinkle me with holy water, say a prayer. Like, I don't understand that. So I don't know what it is about taking a picture with a tiger cub. I've never been one, so I've never really liked the zoo. Sorry. I do not really like to see animals on display. And because as a black person, I guess, knowing that there was a time in our history where we were actually put on display like caged animals. So I don't have that connection to zoos and wildlife refuges that you're supposed to, where people say they're caring for animals, but really and truly, again, I just feel like all these germy humans touching on the tiger cubs and stuff like that, it just feels like it's not, it can't be healthy for them. It just doesn't feel like it's right. And so, um, to your point, I saw the same thing. When I saw the news media going in and they're taking the pictures and they're, oh my gosh, I was just like, no, stop it. You make it worse. This is why this business, and it is business. This is why this is a big business in the first place in this country, because we're sitting around loving animals that are supposed to be in the wild.
Mm-hmm.
They're not
And
supposed to
so,
be in your house. And then when somebody like the crazy man in Ohio, just like one day, like F it, and then you got wild animals running down your, not wild, they're domesticated, but not fully running down your
well, they
street.
still animals. They
Right,
still
they're still
animals. And
animals, but
he decides to release how many
it was
animals?
like 50. And
Yeah.
then for them, well, no, it was more than 50, but I think they ended up euthanizing like 50. And it was like, so you kill all of these animals because they were being animals. Like you killed the lions for being a lion
Right.
because some
Because
crazy
one
idiot.
fool could not handle what he took on. And
Exactly.
so one of the places that was talked about in the series was the Center for Great Apes. Now, I actually visited the Center for Great Apes with again here in Florida
Mhm.
with my child a few years ago on a school field trip. Um and you saw Joe was like, wow, he's sent his chimpanzees there, and he actually saw them, like their personalities came out. They actually were able to behave like chimps. And they, had, bonding and all of these things that happening. So I actually went to the Center for Great Apes, and what they do is they are truly a rescue place.
Mhm.
So for people, they've worked to all those animals that were on, people used to have on side the road, and these, they're like, I guess that's what Florida's known for. They used to have all these like random zoos and people with animals on side the road shows, and take them around traveling zoos. And they've rescued those animals. And actually, Bubbles, we remember Bubbles, Michael Jackson's chimpanzee,
Mhm.
lives at this Center for Great Apes. It is a great ape sanctuary. They don't let you get close. You're not touching, petting. There is no old breeding going on. It's really for them to live out the rest of their days. And these chimpanzees, orangutans, they live a really long time. Um, and so they live out the rest of their days there. And it was so very disturbing and troubling to see them, but we know that they can't go back into the
Right,
wild.
right. I mean, and don't
You
get me
know, we
wrong, like you have Disney Animal Kingdom, for example, where if you're in your hotel room, you look outside, you can see giraffes and things like that, and that, I mean, it's cool, but like I don't want you walking over to the window. I'm not going out on the balcony because we're not having that kind of situation go down. But it's just, I don't know it. I mean, I guess people like animals. I don't know, but if if the Center for Great Apes and there are other places where they are actually doing the work of saving these animals who cannot go back in the wild, then much respect to them. But Jeff said that they killed 48 bears, lions, and tigers in Ohio. And so for me, it's like that just seems to be the antithesis of loving animals. If you just one day say F it, release all the animals, and then the authorities have to kill 48 animals
Mhm.
to make up for your decision. But we haven't
But
even gotten into the good stuff.
okay, so what's the good stuff? Which part? Which part the good
I
stuff?
mean, we didn't even talk about the fact that I don't know, talking about Joe Exotic and being and being so enamored by Jeff Lowry, who was just a fraud. right?
Jeff
So
Lowry.
he sees Jeff roll up in his Range Rover, and he lives in this big mansion, and he has all these women, another one with all these women in the house, and having threesomes and all of this stuff. So he's all excited. Jeff Lowry comes down there. He talks some smack to Carol Baskin because at this point Joe owes Carol like $1 million and he ain't got no money. And Jeff is like, we're not paying you anything. And Joe basically just
Signs
signs
it all
over the
over.
zoo to Jeff Lowry. And then we knew Jeff was crazy for this. First of all, I want to know how they got all this footage because Richard, I'm sorry if you didn't see it. Again, Katrina, you see what I'm saying? It's too many people. You don't even know it. Richard was like, his stuff got burnt up. His footage got burnt up. So I'm like, what y'all just had cameras everywhere up in this
Everywhere.
and y'all were filming
Everywhere.
everybody and everything. So uh, Jeff, how you mad at the lion? And then you gonna tell Laurie get out, and then you gonna fight the lion? What are you doing, sir? And so, and then we ain't talked about the Walmart truck of meats.
Let's talk about Walmart meat. Can we say, can all of you, okay, so all of you who are still watching, who who have shopped at a Walmart, I need y'all to put something in the comments about the Walmart meat. Just drop anything in the comments about Walmart meat. So we all know that restaurants, grocery stores, um, they get things off of their shelves actually before it's even expired, right? We know that they get stuff off of their shelves before it's expired. We know that if someone, and as Joe Exotic explains, if you pick up that ground meat and you get to the register and you decide you don't want that ground meat, they can't put it back in the freeze in the refrigerator section.
I don't all the way believe that, but okay, Joe. If you say
Well, you know how they do when they have that stuff that go back, especially if it's set out because you don't know the time frame. They put listen, the Walmart meat. So because see, when money got tight, because
no,
he couldn't get
before money even got tight.
before money got tight, when the but when money was plentiful, we would go to the feed lot where the cattle would die,
Right.
and we would get those
Or if
cattle,
an
or if there
animal
was
was hit by,
roadkill.
yes, roadkill. Yes, exactly. Was
If there
hit
was
by.
roadkill, the police would call us up and say, "Hey, we got some deer out here. We're gonna bring y'all away so y'all can feed the lion, tigers, and bears." Oh my, because lion, tigers, and bears eat a whole lot of meat, y'all.
And it was
It's
three
60 to seventy
thousand.
thousand dollars a day to feed
It was
the
three
cat.
thousand per lion or per cat per day or something. And
Yeah,
then Doc Antil, he spent like 10,000 per day to feed his cats or something.
yeah, but it was like 60 to $70,000, like just to feed the cats.
Right.
And so, listen, somebody said, "I wish you could have seen my face with the meat." So the and again, we talked about desperation. So the people that work there, sometimes they got paid in Walmart meat.
Not sometimes that was their only food source because they could not leave. They would always be working. And if they are not working, and then they were living in this rat infested, roach infested mobile home, and so the expired meat from Walmart, they got to go through, pick out their stuff first.
The frozen shrimp bag, girl. Now you know what people would be doing for them good shrimps, them good scripts, girl.
They picked out their meat first, brought that to the house, and then they fed
They
the rest.
fed the Walmart meat to it. So yeah, so there was $100 salary, $100 what's it, a
I
year?
don't I don't remember the
Remind
hundred.
us what it was. It was $100, but I would think. Listen, oh,
$100.
$100 a week. Because
Oh yes,
I
okay,
know,
I do remember that. Yes.
yeah, it was $100 a week. But Carol folks is all volunteer, so they getting no dollar a week.
And no Walmart meat. Look at that,
And no
Carol.
Walmart meat. And they working 18 hours. And there was a comment earlier about Carol's employees were the typical look like the typical
Suburban mom.
mom, like, oh, we're helping, we're helping. Y'all are some big old hypocrites. But when we tell you, when they decide, so all right, so now y'all drop y'all comments in about the
The peace.
moment you saw that they decided to open up a pizzeria. The pizzeria. Because they had
Oh man.
like, okay, so we got Walmart meat. We gonna have a pizzeria on site and we gonna sell pizza. Y'all come on, tell us what y'all thought about that when you saw that.
Yeah, that was
Y'all comments on
intriguing.
in there.
I just
And we saw bologna. We saw yes, with that old ass meat. You saw the and I was like, so did they? I clear they must unpackage it before they throw it
well,
in there.
yes, they're not gonna. Of course, they're not gonna have a piece of plastic going down the trachea
I
of the
don't know when
lion
they're
tiger.
throwing the balloons over there to just to record a video and having them pop the balloons. Like
Well, that was yeah, that was, but that was
tigers
funny.
don't play with balloons, people.
Well, okay, then Doc and Till in the monkey birthdays, and then he gonna say it like, "Yeah, we about to celebrate the chimpanzee's birthday," and the documentary guy is like, "Well, what does that entail?" He's like, "I mean, you've been to a 5-year-old party before." I was like, y'all really doing this, huh? Y'all really gonna have a birthday party for some chimpanzee?" And the mom, and then the woman had all the clothes, the preemie clothes.
Yeah,
I'm like, there is probably an actual child that could use those clothes. Not that they aren't chimpanzee children, but I'm just saying, like, like a human child could probably use those clothes.
absolutely, absolutely.
For the
So
well
again, if you didn't see Tiger King, Murder, Mayhem, and Madness, so someone posed the question. They were like, "Okay, I'm seeing all of this. You know, would you recommend it?" And my comment was like, "Recommend? Like, recommend is not a word I would use to describe this series." I succumbed to it. I haven't succumbed to Love Is Blind yet, but I did succumb to Tiger King because I was seeing so much commentary about it. Recommend? No. But if you want to understand, and dare I say it, and I know people say, oh, you shouldn't talk about people like that. If you want to understand why people are choosing to listen to the words of 45 instead of the word of Dr. Fauci, watch Tiger King.
if you want to know why people vote for 45 and not for anybody, I mean, at this point, they could vote for me. Anybody. Because let's face it, this is not. I mean, when you watch this,
When you see that Joe Exotic got,
nineteen
because first
percent
he
of the
ran for
vote.
president and then
Yeah,
he didn't get that. Then so he ran for governor of the state of Oklahoma and he got what percent of the vote? Say it again, sister.
19% of the vote. And I mean, granted, he was in last place, but I mean, 19% is still pretty impressive for somebody who ran as a libertarian and didn't even know what a
A
libertarian was.
libertarian was.
I mean,
19% of the vote he garnered in the state of Oklahoma, in a state where there was once Black Wall Street, in a state in which many Native Americans still reside, but also lost their lives because of the colonizers.
their lives and their land.
their lives and their land, and you wonder how he get 40 some acres of land. I wonder how that got passed down in the family. Let's not guss now. We ain't going there right now, but I'm just gonna say, if you want to understand that he got 19% of the vote, if you still trying to figure out why we need to like really mobilize and get our stuff together, watch Tiger King, Murder, Mayhem, and Madness, because there's so many twists, turns, like I said, moments where you're just like, what the, you fill in the blank, because you will say what the over and over again, and I don't understand, and then you kind of have to process what you just watched and watch some more and see how it just continues to spiral down and cycle out of control. And it is absolute illustration of how someone who has and not just one, because I think all of these people suffer from the same level of narcissism, the same level of faux empire, because nobody had no real money,
Right.
including 45,
Right.
who had all of these different things, but it was all this smoke and mirrors because they want to feel powerful. And if you want to understand why we are where we are as a nation, watch it.
So
And
in my
then do something about it.
I'm sorry. In my watch party, I have Michelle commented, it is necessary informational viewing. We need to know about these people. And what I will say, because I know we're getting close to the top of our hour, 15 train wrecks in every episode. Absolutely. But what I wanted to say is, and because we still haven't touched on this part, so many parts that we haven't touched on, but the
So many
part
parts.
I mean, because we ain't even talk about Travis and how he really abused Travis and abused Travis' entire family. And I have never seen somebody make a whole funeral about themselves. I was so annoyed with Joe at I was like, so you just gonna make this funeral about you and the
Well,
stuff that
Donald Trump is making all of these funerals that's happening right now with this coronavirus about himself with every press conference. I mean,
well,
we see it every day.
true, fair, fair, touche. I'm
Mm.
just saying they were at an actual funeral, and then you turn around and marry somebody else 2 months later, and then have this man's mother at your wedding and hadn't talked to her since.
Mm-hmm. But
All of
that
that
young
was
man with the
he was
playing around
so
with
troubled.
guns and playing around with all of that, and but the young man who witnessed him kill himself, and at first thought, okay, it's a joke because he's always joking around, and realized I just watched someone blow their brains out, and
Yeah.
he went back to work too, because then he continued to work there for a little bit before he left.
Right, because then he felt guilty and felt like I can't leave him because now Travis is gone. So, but anyway, that's not even the part I wanted to get to. The part I wanted
Mm-mm.
to get to was listen, Joe was a terrible individual. He did terrible things. He took advantage of a lot of people. That being said, at the end of the day, he was the fall guy. And it goes back to what happens a lot of times in our society as well. There are bigger issues and bigger crimes being committed, but there's always the little guy that takes the fall. And what I saw happen was Jeff Lowry and then the fat guy who used to own the gay the I mean the strip clubs, and then Tim, whatever Tim's last name was, the other guy from Ohio who also owned the zoo. They set this man up to take the fall, to go to prison. Meanwhile, Carol, who we all think killed her husband, or at least knows about it, has used her wealth to beat the system. And it speaks about a system that we live in that is not just at all, but it really goes to those who have the most money. And yeah, and so Joe, little poor Joe Exotic, who started off from nothing and ends up with nothing, is sitting behind bars. Now he filing lawsuits against all kind of people. So he got like a 90 something $1 million lawsuit going on right now against the government and the fish and what was it, the
Wildlife,
wildlife and fisheries people, whatever.
USDA. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he has all these lawsuits going, but at the end of the day, it's like he took the fall, and we know, as you alluded to, there are bigger crimes that have happened under all of these layers. Jeff Lowry was a criminal. So was the other guy,
Mm-hmm.
Allen or whatever his name is, who he supposedly allegedly paid the $3,000 to. All these people were criminals, and they, in my opinion, basically colluded to put this.
And you can hear it, and we hear it all on tape. And I can't remember. Yeah, it's absolutely in freaking sane. But I will say this: wild animals should live in the wild. We
Mhm.
have a problem here in Florida in the Everglades because people. So you saw the opening scene with that Burmese python, where people have gotten these pythons. They get too large for them to handle, and they just throw them out into the wild, like throw them into the Everglades, throw them out down, flush them down the toilet, whatever they do, and they end up in habitats that are not their natural habitat, and they end up wrecking the ecosystem. You have someone who, I can't handle it no more, I'm going to release them in the streets. You've had the woman have her face ripped off. You know, animals, wild animals deserve to live in their natural habitat. Now, because we have more wild animals now, or big cats or tigers specifically in captivity in this country, they can't do any they can't be released, so they have to be somewhere. But this breeding needs to stop. This breeding needs to stop, and some people need to do something about it. And shut it down. And as far as I'm concerned, if you are not the San Diego, the New Orleans, the Los Angeles, any of these major cities that have zoos, Washington D.C., whatever, if you're not one of these major places that um, have, no one should just be like, I'm gonna start a zoo.
Yeah, but I'm gonna have to slightly disagree with you, sister, because I think when I went to the Los Angeles Zoo, that's when I was like, this is really bad. Like I really felt like those animals were, they looked very unhappy and they looked terrible. And
Of
then to
course
see,
they are, but we have so many in captivity now. Like, to me, just a regular Joe should not be able to start a damn zoo in bum whatever,
no,
Oklahoma, New Orleans, well, like, because
they
I saw
definitely shouldn't.
at one point I was like, oh Lord, look, Bell, what was it, Bell Terre, Louisiana. I saw them sitting
It
somewhere in
was
Louisiana too.
yeah. I saw that too. I
Like I said,
yeah.
they should, all of those people needs to be shut down.
Right.
Period. It's ridiculous.
Agreed. But to that point, because they all need to be shut down, it's not fair to have one little Jill Exotic take the fall and then these other people get off scot free and they can continue to run their big cat rescue or continue to run the,
They're criminal enterprises.
yeah,
Basically, it's all criminal enterprises. But
absolutely.
for some light, we're gonna leave y'all with a little light and levity. So what we're looking forward to, some of the things. If you haven't watched Uncorked on Netflix, we need you to tune in and watch Uncorked on Netflix. It is a lighthearted family movie, but it's really about perseverance, following your dreams and your path. I will also say if Alvin Ailey right now is having some all access to their performances. I shared Revelations earlier. So if you are into um, dance, art, and if you're looking for an activity a cultural activity that you need your children to do while they're being homeschooled, check out Alvin Ailey All Access. Also on Netflix, for those of you who watched Ozark, tune in and watch Ozark season 3 has premiered. So that'll be something else. Since you know you're gonna be in the house for 30 more days, you might not want to binge this one. You might want to just take it week by week, take a couple episodes a day and just play this thing out a little bit longer. So you got that. And then I don't know, did we ever talk about the This Is Us finale?
We did not, and actually, I told you I have to go back and watch it. Because I watched it, but then I need to go back and watch it. So we have not talked about that. So we have to do that. And I'm also catching up on All American. I'm almost finished the second season because I was a little behind on All American. So yes. So lots
So
of good
yes.
stuff. I
Yes, and
mean,
I haven't watched All American yet at all. I know our mother said she finally finished it. She was like, "Gosh, it's so long." And yes, you have 2 seasons, 16 episodes
it ain't
each.
that long.
Well, 32 episodes is a lot compared to a lot of these shows. Their seasons are 8 seasons, or it's not like old school. If you go back, like I'm watching Designing Women, and I watch a little bit every day, but Designing Women had like 27, 22 episodes. So you think about those shows of 52 weeks, they had like 26 weeks of shows. Like
Mm-hmm.
they had real seasons. This 8 episodes, and then we got the winter break, and then we come back for 2 weeks, and then we got the spring break, and it's like all of these breaks. And then you still only end up with 12 or 13 episodes, and you're like, well, wait a minute, what is this? But yeah, so I will say 16 episodes is a lot in today's terms of television, for real.
Sure, it's a cute show though. I mean, not cute. Cute is not the right word. I enjoy it. But after reading the young man's story, I like the, no offense to the young man, right? But it was just one of those, like, again, Hollywood does take some creative liberties when they talk about inspired by a true story. It was like, yep, about two lines of that was inspired by a true story, and the rest just not. So, but it's pretty cool.
All right. Well, All American, that'll be. I'll have to work that one in. But as always, folks, we thank you for tuning into this special episode. We hope you enjoy. We wanted to just have some fun, have a little laughter, take our minds off of some of the things that we're dealing with, getting accustomed to. I am not going to fall into the this is going to be the new normal thing. As I said, I believe there are a lot of great things are going to be born out of this time, in terms of the way we work, in terms of the way we interact, in the terms of the way we get entertained. I think a lot of great things going to be born out of this time. Hopefully, instead of complaining about the time being shared with family, have a little empathy for those who are being away from their families and who are losing their family members at this time, and find out ways in which you can support and or help, because it is a blessing. Hey, they go in their rooms and close the doors, but it's a blessing to be here with my children and know that we're all safe. So we don't have to stay in the house. We're safe in the house. And that is what I'm thankful for today. And so find something to be thankful for and express gratitude over. And with that, we're signing off. And thank you for tuning in tonight's episode of Hey Sister. Bye, everybody.